Hey everyone. So I've been wanting to make this vlog because there's just been something that's been on my mind a lot lately, and I figured, why not just talk to you guys about it. So the thing that's been on my mind is, do I want to have another hospital birth, or do I want to try a home birth? Do I want to try a birth center birth? There's just so many things to think about. And some of you may think it's odd for me to even be worrying about this right now because I'm definitely not pregnant yet, and we're not trying to conceive, and we won't be for at least another 6 to 9 months, maybe even longer. But at the same time, it's something that I would like to figure out before we try to conceive, just because, I want to have a good idea of where or who I'm going to have my prenatal care with. Do I want to have it with a midwife or an OB, and all that. So, if we're going to go with the midwife, I'd like to kind of select the midwife beforehand, and, especially if there's things insurance will cover or won't cover, we need to budget. So, I don't know, it's just something that I want to learn more about and want to decide before we start trying to get pregnant again. And if you know my birth story, you know that, like I said, we did have Jack in the hospital. I really didn't have a negative experience with it. A lot of times you hear about women who had hospital births the first time, or ended up with a cesarean, or felt like their birth plan wasn't respected, or just felt like a lot of unnecessary interventions were forced upon them, and end up having home births for the second time around. But that's not really the case for me, because I don't feel like a lot of things were forced upon me. They respected my wishes. The only interventions I was given were things that I asked for, like the epidural, for example. They didn't, I wasn't induced. I went into labor naturally. I didn't have to have Pitocin. But at the same time, I only get to give birth, maybe 1 or 2 more times in my life, and so I obviously want to get the most out of the experience. So it's not like I had a negative experience with Jack, and I don't have like all these regrets surrounding it, like, because looking back, I have nothing but positive memories about it. But at the same time, like, part of me wonders if there isn't more that I could be experiencing. Before I even got pregnant with Jack, I'd seen the movie The Business of Being Born, and I thought it was fabulous. I thought it was really interesting, and after seeing that, I've always been really fascinated with birth, the process of it and everything. And whenever I hear about somebody that has a home birth, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's awesome, and I'm just like super proud of anybody that's done it or wants to do it. And but I'll be 100% honest, my reason for not really looking more into it last time with Jack is because I'm scared of going through the pain and not being able to have an epidural. And maybe some people would criticize me for admitting that, but I don't really care. I'm just being honest. Growing up, my mom, she had my brother and I all natural. I don't even know if epidurals were really like a common option back then, but she had both of us all natural in a hospital, and she described it as, the most pain she's ever been in her life. She also said it was completely worth it because she got my brother and I out of it, but I've always that's always kind of stuck with me, the fact that she's described it as the most painful thing she's ever gone through. So I'm not like blaming it on her, the reason why I have a fear of all that, going through the pain, but at the same time, it's definitely stuck with me through my through my pregnancy and through my adult years. I've got plenty of friends who have had home births and really speak highly of the experience. They say they don't have any regrets. Anyway, so you guys might know that I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but the woman I nanny for, she's a nurse, but she's also a midwife student, and she's a doula. So yeah, she's got like birth books all over her house, and just from friends on Facebook, I see a lot of home birth stuff posted, and I've always been really curious about it, whether I want to do it myself or not. It's something that I'm probably always going to be fascinated by and interested in. I still love watching birth videos on YouTube. Some scare me more than others, but yeah, it's just so fascinating to me. So at the very least, I think I owe it to myself to research it more. So I guess that's what I'm looking for right now, is just information. And you know, if there is a way for me to work through the fear, and if it's something that I ever feel comfortable attempting, you know, I kind of want to go for it. You know, some days I'm like, screw it, let's go for it, let's just try an all natural labor and delivery. But other days I'm just like so freaked out by the thought that I just immediately retreat back to the idea of a hospital birth, and my good old trusty epidural. So I'm literally on the fence with this one. Like but there's just such a huge part of me that just at least wants to try, you know? I don't know. I mean, before I had Jack and before I, you know, even went through labor with him, there wasn't this strong desire to really experience it. But after going through it and seeing that, you know, yes, I am, you know, truly believing that my body can do it, you know, I'm so curious about it now. And I know that, you know, giving birth with an epidural isn't obviously the same as, you know, going all natural and all that, but nonetheless, my body did give birth to a child, whether I could feel it or not. So just knowing that it was capable of doing that, I don't know, it just gives me kind of like a little boost of confidence. But if you guys, you know, want to leave in the comments, you know, any helpful materials or information that you think would, you know, help me at least learn more about what a natural birth would be like. And how do you, I guess what I would ask for people who have had a natural birth, or a water birth specifically, because that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, is a water birth. If you've had a water birth, what helped you get through the pain, and what helped you get through the fear? Because I guess the fear is really the big thing that's stopping me. I guess another thing to consider would be my hospital's cesarean rate, or C-section rate. Ours is actually not as high as some other hospitals might be. It was 37% last I checked, but that's still pretty high to me. That's over 1 in 3 women who end up with a C-section, and I can't imagine that all 37% actually needed it. I would guess that some of them ended up with a C-section unnecessarily because, you know, because unnecessary interventions were being done. Yeah, I'm still totally on the fence with it. I actually have no idea which direction I'm gonna go, because like I said, one day I'm like, yeah, this is something that I really want to try, and then another day I'm just like, no, it's just not for me. And you know, I'm sure I could have another hospital birth just like I had with Jack, and at the end of the day not regret it, because like I said, it was a positive experience. I didn't, my care providers, you know, took great care of me, and I didn't feel like anything was being forced down my throat. But at the same time, I don't know. I think if I wanted to labor naturally at the hospital, I think we might run into some issues, because, you know, they have birthing tubs there, or not birthing tubs, they have bathtubs in every room that they said you can labor naturally, and as long as you don't have an induction with, you know, a Pitocin drip or an epidural. But they still have IVs for, you know, fluids, obviously. I don't know if my OB would allow me to birth in a position that, you know, was like squatting or not laying down. I don't know if she would allow me to do that. One thing I definitely want to do different next time, no matter where I have my baby, and this is something that I'm, you know, sure about. I definitely do not want to have the cord cut right away. I want to wait for it to stop pulsating, because, you know, you always hear about cord blood banking and how important the cord blood is. So, I mean, if it's so important that people would pay a bunch of money to bank it, you know, I think I just think it belongs in my child's body if it's really, you know, such good stuff. So there's really no harm in waiting for the cord to stop pulsating before cutting it. So I'd like to do that next time. And I'm also, I know this sounds so gross to some people, I'm also considering having my placenta encapsulated. And that's just because I heard that the hormones, when you give birth, get all out of whack. And I went through some postpartum depression last time, and I heard that this helps a lot with it. You know, it's not really my first choice as far as, you know, treating postpartum or preventing postpartum depression. You know, it sounds actually pretty gross when you first hear about it, but man, postpartum depression sucks. Like, it's, if you can do something that's going to help it, then, you know, why not? So, I don't think I could ever, like, save my placenta and use it as, like, you know, meat and prepare it like placenta meatballs or something like that. But, yeah, that kind of makes my stomach turn a little bit to think about. But in a capsule, like, where it never actually touches your tongue and it just, you know, dissolves in your stomach, that seems a little bit more doable to me. So I think that's something I want to do as well. But yeah, so I guess that's kind of where I'm at with things. Things are just up in the air, and I don't know if I'm totally crazy for wanting to, you know, try this, or I don't know what'll happen. If you guys could just leave me your thoughts, your experiences, if you've had, you know, what kind of birth have you had? Did you have a positive experience? What would you change about your birth? And if you wouldn't change anything about your last birth, would you still want to do something different the next time, or what? Just really interested in what everyone has to say. So, also, if you know of any good books, because I so far have ordered on Amazon. You want to come up here with me? Come here, baby. Jack's sleeping, so she can be my baby. Come here. Come here. Come here. So far, I've ordered Ina May's Guide to Childbirth, I think is what it's called, and I've ordered another book called The Birth Partner, because if Homebirth if Homebirth is something that we want to try, or a water birth or something, I definitely want Derek to be on board with the idea. I don't want to make him feel like, you know, I just want him to be excited about it too. I don't want him to just go along with it because I want to. Obviously, I'm the one, Obviously, I'm the one giving birth, so at the end of the day, it's going to be my call about where I want to do it. But, you know, of course, I want I want him to be excited about it too, and I want him on board. So I'm also going to have him talk to my friend's husband, because the lady I nanny for, she gave birth to her two youngest kids, both at home. So her husband has gone through that experience with her, and, you know, if he's got any input about it, I would love for his opinion too. But anyways, guys, that is all. Hi. Sorry, Bean's being really cute. Anyways, so I look forward to hearing what everyone has to say, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.